real quick. So I don't know. I forgot to put my phone on airplane mode. We got like a phone call like in the middle of a conversation. A lot of shit just like must have got corrupted or something. But basically, we lost like probably 80% of the shit we've recorded already. This might not be as long as a podcast as we intended.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, too, I feel like just as brothers and as homies, we had a lot to catch up on, and maybe not all of it would be like relevant to others, and a lot of that probably was catching
honestly,
up.
Yeah, there's so much catching up.
Yeah, so I mean,
I guess we can just backtrack. Quick summary from me, real quick. I hate the Army. But no, basically, I spent the last few months just trying to get promoted in my field. Went through a lot of hiccups, but hopefully it should happen soon. Been doing well with my girlfriend Janet, who is on her last year of college, and just really had a great summer with her. Not a whole lot has changed about me lately. Rex, do you want to just give a brief rundown of what you went over, and we'll just head back into it.
Yeah. Basically,
we said so much.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so hard.
I feel like I've had a weird year too, but I'll just say like this last year went into like this big depression, almost killed myself. Started to pull myself out after a bunch of drug addiction. Then started dating my best friend, and we're engaged now. We're gonna get married in May. And what we were talking about before things got corrupted with the file or whatever, with the audio, is so yeah, once we get married in May, our extended honeymoon, quote unquote, will be buying a camper and a truck and just essentially touring across the entire US with the sort of mission statement in mind of we're looking for our home. We're looking for where we're going to settle after that. So we're going to travel for like 3 to 5 years, not paying rent, just living in the camper, a fully, sustainable camper, and just really embrace that sort of nomadic lifestyle while we're young and have the time and energy to do all this. And yeah, by the time we're, in our mid-20s, we're going to have tons of real world experience and education, have met tons of different people, narrowed down what we more want to do with our lives, and know what kind of environment we want to buy our house into. Like, we hope by the end of it we'll be able to put a down payment on a house and just do that, because I really don't like renting. I hate paying rent. It fucking sucks. I hate throwing away money every month and not really building
you're not
up
really
towards
getting
no investment is being made.
No, yeah.
And so right now I'm building up to that, working really harder than I ever have. Just really pushing, because I know I'm pushing towards getting married and that. And also in the midst of all that, I'm just trying to make sure we're like healthy before we go. Like, I'm saving up so we can, spend money on better groceries and go to the chiropractor and, fix our backs. We both have scoliosis, and just kind of like leave with as little problems and just as ready and adaptable as possible. Nice. And so that's kind of all what's happening. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. But I'm really trying to get better. I talked a little bit earlier about how like habits are a big thing for me, and there was a point in time I was trying to cultivate and or change about 12 habits at the same time, and that was just too much to balance on my plate at once, and I was inevitably heading towards burnout every time. And now I've cut down to about 3 or 4, that are driven towards health and work, and I've just kind of simplified my life while still knowing I'm building up towards something better. So like, I'm meditating and doing yoga and working on my sleep and exercise and habits that I know like I need to get down first before I have the energy and headspace to pick up all the other things I know I want to do. Like, ideally, yeah, I'd be writing every day and doing podcasts and making videos and just making all these like ambitious moves, but I need to build a foundation first, is what it kind of boils down to. That's what's happening. Also, I just I love my fiance so much. She gives me so much fucking life, dude. And
it's awesome.
Yeah, this has been the best experience of my life with her. So
great. So I guess we just backtrack to that question I asked you about your 3 to 5 years of adventuring. The question I asked earlier, we already went over it, but if we just want to summarize that real quick, is asked, obviously, if you were like nervous about leaving this newfound stability you've reached. Now you have like a place to stay with someone you love. A lot of people like would really feel content in the situation that you're in, and
Yeah.
just kind of be cool with it where they're at. Like,
And it seems like I should especially be grateful,
yeah,
considering I've never
and
had a stable
don't think I'm
environment.
trying to say you're ungrateful or like,
No, I
I'm
understand.
trying to say like, oh, this is like the best part of your life. Like, why change it now? Not all I'm trying to say, but
And that's the thing. I am the most grateful I've been, and I am in the most comfortable stage of my
yeah,
life. But I see why
yeah.
you would
But
express
like,
like,
a lot of people would be like, this is good, right? So you want to go, you still, we've talked about so many times radical change, right? About how important that can be into life and stuff like that, how that can mean so much. And so, yeah, just are you nervous to like, you finally kind of come to the point where like you have a lot of stability in your life and you're just gonna like go out and like do this
yeah,
wild thing?
be a nomad essentially again.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically what it comes down to is there's a little bit of surface anxiety in it and healthy nervousness, I'd
Yeah.
say, but at the same
Exactly. Healthy
time,
nervousness.
I'd say like um, the foundation of why I'm not scared or anything is that I've done it before in way worse circumstances and from not not coming from my intent to be like homeless or anything.
Yeah.
And but also like yeah, like the foundation of it all is that Tony and I have decided that we don't want to live in Colorado Springs forever. So even though I've like I'm in a good place to settle, and if I wanted to stay here, I could just be content where I'm at for at least a while.
Mm-hmm.
I already know this is not where I want to be,
Yeah.
and I'm honestly, if anything, itching to leave and
Makes sense. Well,
to
why
go.
settle someplace 5, 10 years down the line you're gonna be like, I
You're going to be
want
somewhere
to be
else.
somewhere else
Yeah,
by now.
and yeah, the goal is like 3 to 5 years. We're literally like somewhere else, putting money into a house and
Mm-hmm.
like building our lives that way. So, and that's not even that far away. And we're leaving in like 8 months, like 8 or 9 months. We're
Yeah, that's
leaving.
not
We're
long.
getting married in that time and leaving in that time. So
Mm-hmm. That's gonna fly by, man. It really
that's what I'm
is.
hoping. I mean, it sort of is, but yeah, it's like I don't know. It doesn't help that I am itching. I'm itching to go and do this stuff, but
Yeah.
also I'd say the thing I'm most nervous about is getting everything done in the meantime. Like while
Yeah,
I'm waiting for that. Like
that's
there's
fair.
so many people. I want to like tie off a lot of loose ends. I want to get healthy. I've got gut problems and I've got back problems, as you know. And
Mm-hmm.
with this money, it's like I'm really trying to take care of that stuff before we go. And I have so many bad habits too. Like I don't want to be on the road and be dealing with like binge eating disorder. I definitely have like awful eating habits and just terrible
Sorry
shit.
for laughing, but yeah, no, that's
No, it's
fair.
so silly, honestly, for me, but it still happens. And yeah, so yeah, I'd say that's what I'm most nervous about. But honestly, I'm just so fucking excited, and she's so excited, and
And to do it together is like really special,
yeah,
honestly.
I mean, it's like it's really cool for her too. I'm really excited for her to come on and onto my new podcast, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited for her to come on and talk about all the reasons she's wanted to do this stuff, and she wrote a blog about this like 2 years
Really
ago. Yeah,
nice. So you guys are both definitely on the same mindset.
yeah, it's like
Same
our
mentality.
ideals are in perfect accord with another, and that's just one of the many r- reasons why we're so compatible. And so yeah, it's just that's just what we're completely excited for. We're not attached to this space or this city or state even, and yeah, it's like every day it just becomes less and less nerve wracking, and we're just more and more excited to go. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Some days I'm really itching and I'm like, fuck, I just want to go. But yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yeah, that's super. That's super cool though. I'm like super excited for you to be able to go do that. I just want to follow the adventure like through your phone calls and your social media. So if you do anything on that,
We're gonna do some. So yeah, this is a good segue to talk about the podcast and some other stuff we'll be doing. I'm gonna be trying to do, I guess, vlogging, like travel
some
vlogging.
video
I'm gonna do
blogs.
like
Yeah.
so yeah, 2 video blogs a month.
Nice.
I'll update my blog here and there, but the main platform I want to do all this stuff on, documentation and so forth, is so my project for the next, like, my one kind of creative endeavor, because I'm still kind of leaving writing on the back burner for now, but I
Okay.
am starting a new podcast soon that's like, it's just going to kind of be like my podcast. I'm going to try to get better equipment, and I have a little bit more of like a narrow or like niche sort of direction I'm going than we have
Mhm.
with Hobo and the Vet. I
Yeah,
love
Hobo
doing
and The Vet is great, but it's super broad.
casual and
Just talk about what the fuck we feel like.
yeah,
It's a great
exactly.
time.
I loved
I'm
it.
proud of who you are.
I'm really glad that we made this. Yeah, so here's where I'll go first. I want to say, like, this is really interesting because we kind of like have met our goal with it, and this was just like a really fun like project we did. But this was our
Yeah.
10th episode.
Yeah, 10 episodes is really, I really wanted to get to 10 episodes.
We're gonna look back on this and be like, wow, like, look at this, just like 10 episodes of a podcast that we just randomly threw together one year
Yeah.
on YouTube, and
Maybe one day we can revisit it.
yeah.
Hobo and The Vet anniversary.
Well,
or something.
and then and then I'll get into my podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to have you on my podcast too, and we'll do more that way. But
Yeah,
so yeah,
of course.
like this podcast, it'll go on the road with us too, but Tony's gonna have a really big role once we transition to the one on the road. It's so much that we're gonna actually change the name of it.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a name for this one while we're still here,
For your podcast.
and I also don't have a name for the 2.0 version on the road.
Right.
But it's kind of going to be the same sort of feel. Just one will have Tony more like so when we're on the road, she's gonna fill the role of producer essentially, which I've talked to you a little bit about
Yeah,
before.
you
She's like
she'll
be kind of like watching the audio, making sure like the levels are good. That's kind of her like a priority. But then also she's listening to the conversation, taking part when she kind of wants to and chimes in.
Yeah.
Like more so than a lot of producers. Like I want her to
Yeah.
feel encouraged to talk whenever she really wants.
Yeah, of course.
But also
she can put in as much input as she likes.
she likes the idea of this too. She's gonna kind of fact check us as we go. Like like especially if I
How many times have we talked about having
I know
we should want to fact check?
we've definitely needed it.
More than a few times.
But especially with the type of guests.
Tonight when they stopped recording, that would have been nice to fucking know.
Yeah, no, she would have like been able to notice and just
Yeah,
be like, okay, like you guys shut off, like hold on a second while we get this back. But
yeah.
But yeah, she'll also just like when I'm like spewing some bullshit, I don't realize, she'll be like, actually, that's not true. It's this, and I'll be like, okay, and then we don't waste 20 minutes talking about something premised off of bullshit that's spewed from my mouth. So yeah, so that'll be good. But
we always give out right facts.
Yeah,
every time.
We're never wrong.
I've never told anything wrong in my life. In my life.
I'm so excited to tell you about this though. So as stigmatized as it is, I got to be open with saying like mindfulness has become just increasingly more a part of my life.
Good.
Meditation, my practice is getting deeper. But yeah, so this podcast is going to be more specifically kind of about like my perspective and how it's going to go against the people or how it's going to influence the type of guest I'm going to have. So I'm this young man, I'm 20 right now, about going to be 21 in a couple months. Yeah. And I'm, just borderline obsessed with learning how to navigate my life the best I can. And I think a lot of that's from not really having guidance growing up and not really having parents. Yeah. And I think people that don't really have like strong parental types in their life, they tend to go really into like philosophizing things and becoming idealistic and really trying to learn how to navigate them, like how to be their own parents. Like they kind of are forced down that path, either that or they choose the victim mentality. So I want to create this podcast for people who are also, mostly young people, I guess, who are trying to figure this out too. But I think I could have a helpful perspective and attract the right type of people to help teach people. Like I think meditation is really underrated. I think it could help everyone. And so I'm gonna basically I just want to bring in a bunch of people who I think can offer some sort of perspective. That doesn't mean every podcast has to be serious, toned, or whatnot, but people that will come in and I'll ask questions more tailored to try to. I'm going to ask questions trying to provoke answers along the line, like trying to get wisdom in some form. And it's going to be coming from me selfishly too, just trying to have conversations with people that could teach me something. But it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of people my age, and I'm really excited to have like Roshan on. He's like
Hmm.
I would consider him like a really wise young man who's very creative, and he kind of knows himself. And there's so many questions that I have for him that'll help. But also, I want to go out of my way to I'm gonna like email meditation teachers, like really wise older
Oh.
people, and like explain to them like I'm this young guy who's been wanting like mentorship as far as meditation, and
Mhm.
also but more so I just want the world, like I want people my age to know what meditation is, and I try to explain it, but I'm not a master. Could you come on my podcast and could I talk to you about this and the value in it and why people should be doing
Yeah.
it? And I think they would actually be big on it because there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to spread the word, but they know themselves if they're a meditation
Right.
practitioner, they know
And
how
it is,
helpful it
and
is.
you can always get like different insights on it and stuff as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, constant check now.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely different insights on it because I'm sure everyone has their own ideals on it and stuff like that. So that's super cool. And once you also hit the road and stuff like that, it would be awesome for you to like be able to get people from like, around the country.
all over the country. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's when it's gonna be. So we have to kind of change the title of the podcast too, because it's gonna be so specifically like, hey, we're gonna have a new guest from all over the country at a point. So there's more of a
right.
travel aspect to it too. Like we'll be in new places all the time. There's a
Yeah,
whole different aesthetic to it at that point.
that's awesome, man. That's super cool.
Yeah, so that's the kind of future of me with podcasting, and I really want to get back into it. I want it. I don't know if we got that in this recording or if that was from before. I think it was from before, but I talked a little bit about how, I talked about how I am working on all these, or a couple habits at a time instead of a bunch, these
Hmm.
sort of foundational habits to help me be just at the core, like a good feeling person and
Yeah,
a capable, adaptable person. And one of the only issues has been this feeling of like I'm not giving enough output to the world. I'm not, not writing. I'm not being
right.
super creative, and the podcast is kind of like
It's a
it's my way
creative
to do it.
outlook and shit.
It's creative enough, and it's just all it requires is for me to go and interview people and talk to them. It
Nice.
also inspires me to like keep studying and staying sharp, and I want to have. I
Yeah,
always want something interesting to talk about. So it's
keep up with even like current events and stuff like that.
yeah,
So that's always a good topic of conversation. No, that's awesome, man. Like that's super cool. Um, like I definitely am excited to be a guest
oh yeah,
on the podcast. Hopefully, a couple of times.
me too.
Hmm.
So now that we kind of summed up everything,
Yeah,
and we
and
kind of
even
talked
add a
about
little
things.
bit more.
I'm kind of curious. Like, so are you still gonna go away here soon?
Okay, yeah, no. So right now, like, I have no like dates or anything. I shouldn't be leaving really. The only thing like really on my schedule now is I go to the field on Monday for 9 days, and then come back. I have all of October off. So this is the first time in 4 years I'm gonna be able to celebrate my birthday, which is
Wow.
pretty cool. Yeah. So I have October off, and then November, midway through November, we go to Louisiana for a month. They come back, go to Christmas, go to holiday leave. I'll go visit Minnesota, and then after that, don't really. It's like schedule's clear. I don't have anything planned. I shouldn't be leaving because I went to the pre-ranger course and I graduated the course. Right, I have the certificate and everything, but I failed some of the events there, and when you fail the events there, just like they're like they don't want to send you because if you fail an event there, like they know like you're probably not gonna pass it at the actual ranger school, and if you fail at that ranger school, like you just get sent home, like get dropped, right? That's a pretty strict course. So no, it's not in the plans or in the schedule to go. Maybe in the future, in next year, I'll try again, possibly if I'm up for it. Then Janet's asked me not to do it. She doesn't want me to do it understandably. And I do have to take her feelings into consideration because she means a lot to
And
me.
because how long would it be?
It's 62 days if you don't recycle. Recycling is uh, you can fail an event there basically. It's like but not it's a non-drop event. So the first 4 days is they have the drop the course events. If you fail one of those, you're done. Then after you get there's three different phases: 20-day first phase, 20-day second phase, and 16-day third phase. you could be 11 or 12 days into the first phase. You'll do a patrol. You fuck something up on the patrol, and you fail it. Then you get what's called recycled, and where you have to go back and restart the first phase over again with the next group of people. They come in, and so almost everyone gets recycled at least once or twice. One of my friends there, it sucks because he got recycled probably midway through the first phase. Got it. He got recycled at the very end of the second phase, so he has to do the second phase all over again now. And so, so it could end up being a pretty good amount of time.
Well,
And I would feel bad if I were to put Janet through like 4 months of like not really talking to her and stuff, just for me to go do this and then come back and then just get out of the army anyways, because it's really good for you if you want to stay in the army. Like I said, I don't plan on staying in the army. Everything you do everything like my dad said, do everything that you're planning on staying in. But Ranger School is more or less something that you can kind of do later, if you want to do it later. So, you know, my only thing is I just don't want to regret not going in the future down the road in my life and I say, man, I should have done that. But
yeah, just in case. I mean, you talked much
mm-hmm.
before about how you never really know
Mm-hmm.
like what's gonna happen. It's like, yeah, right now you could say that, yeah, when the 4 year mark hits up, you want to be gone, but also if something happens, you had a kid, or
Yeah,
you fall into a bunch of debt randomly, or something
yeah,
happens, then it would potentially even just financially make sense to stay in another
yeah.
couple
Because
years.
in this school, like it honestly makes your career if you make it your and you just don't fuck up like a DUI or anything. Like you'll make you'll get promoted so fast. It's unbelievable. But I also just don't want it to be because it is a super prestigious school and one of the best leadership schools in the world. Uh, I just don't want it to be like I'm like 30, 35, 40 years old and I like look back at my military career and I tell my kids about it. I don't want to be like, oh, I should have went to Ranger School but I didn't and regret it. I don't think I will. Honestly, I don't think I will. Um, I mean, my dad never went. My grandfather never went. So like, it's a cool thing. Maybe I'll try and inspire my kid to go one day, but I'm not too worried about it. But there is always that like possibility. So I have to accept that now, which I'm pretty much made peace with it at this point, anyways. But I don't really have plans of going, so I shouldn't be. But we'll see what happens. There's a lot of pressure on me to still try again and go, and that's the only thing that's really keeping me interested is the fact that like I don't know, it's just to do it, just to see if you can, kind of thing. It's like because people like
Well, you have people egging you on to
yeah,
do it
people who
too.
are like, you should go back. Like, you should. Like, it would be good for you. I think you can do it. I have like, a lot of like people like push, but at the end of the day, it's not their decision. And to tell somebody you should go and then not go yourself is kind of like, eh, you know, like I should go. Like, look at you. Like, have you ever tried to go? Like, if you try to go and you fail, that's one thing. But if you don't even try to go and then you tell someone else to do it, like that's like saying like, hey, you should eat this food because I wouldn't eat it, like, right? But yeah,
Yeah, especially with the Baba
but yeah. So
Ganoush.
I don't have anything planned for leaving anytime soon. I really should be here for your wedding unless some like fuck shit happens or whatever. So like I said, when you asked me, I think I said like 85% around there. Sure, that I should be able to make it. So also thanks for this invitation. It's really cool. I'm gonna keep that for a long time. As long as I don't lose it. Right. So yeah, no, don't have any plans of being gone for an extended period of time, other than November into December. So yeah, there's that.
So you'll probably be able to come on my podcast soon then.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I start
definitely.
that up, yeah.
I'd like to be.
I'll probably start doing like a bunch of episodes. Yeah, like I said, I
Mhm.
selfishly just want to be interviewing a ton of interesting people and learning a bunch so I can still get better at learning how to navigate my life. And I
Yeah,
also just want to become a better communicator and have this sort of like body of weird work there just online. But
nice.
I am super proud of like what we've done though, just with this. I mean,
I mean, to do 10 episodes of something,
yeah, it's gonna be
it's
fun to
pretty
like
cool.
look back and just we always
Yeah.
even just selfishly for us, we have this archive of
Mhm.
of just hours of
Yeah,
conversation
and
with
I
us
always have
now.
the Hobo and The Vet poster in my room.
Yeah,
So there's that.
yeah, man.
Mhm. But no, like, and we definitely hang out. We'll always be something like 20 years down the line, reminisce over or something.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I was like 20 years down the line, we would do like Hobo and The Vet 20-year reunion. We're like fucking. This is our catch up episode from the last 8 years.
Yeah. Just do one every
It's
5
like
years.
9 hours long.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot to catch up on this year.
Make sure you put your phone on airplane mode.
Oh my god, no. We'll have a good setup.
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a really simple setup here soon, but it'll be really
But
just so
reliable.
easy. Yeah. It'll be as easy as just plugging it into Adobe Audition and putting one microphone at a table, and that's it.
Ta-da!
Yeah, no more lapel mics, no more of that bullshit.
So. Got the job done though.
Yeah, no. We did what we could. Yeah, I'm gonna also like when I'm on the road, it's and I'm doing this podcasting and stuff. Oh yeah, so I didn't get to explain this, but our financial situation is a little bit different. I can tell you about this kind of what happened like off the air, I'd say, but and there are reasons for me to save up a lot right now, but we're basically just gonna be able to like travel for 6 months straight and not even work.
Really?
So we're gonna do 6 months of travel before we even make our first stop. I mean, it's really about like whenever we want to stop within that 6 months, we can too.
Yeah.
If we like stop somewhere and go, wait a minute, like
But
this,
might as well.
like this could be a
here.
place we want to live. Let's
Yeah,
let's
and
chill
check
here
it
for
out.
a little while.
Yeah.
Then we can do that. But if we also just want to keep going, I mean, think about how much travel you can get done in 6 months. You could see,
You could definitely
you could see a quarter of the country. I'd say
easily.
yeah.
And really take it in. As if you wanted to, you could see every state in that amount of time if you wanted to. But to really take everything in and get an idea of how the vibe.
It's like at the same time you could spend in California alone like 2 or 3 months. It's just so big. You could see
and still
to
haven't
take
seen
it all
like
in.
half of it yet.
And it's different to be a tourist than it is to live somewhere. So
do you have like a route idea plan?
So we have the first like chunk down, but after that it's we're gonna add to like we're gonna have like a loose map like planned out and drawn out before we go, and it's subject to change. But yeah, we're gonna go first to California. We're gonna have just a month-long honeymoon just in California because we already decided we're not gonna live there. I talked to her a little bit about it today. I was like, it's really nice we're doing that because since we're not gonna live in California like full time at least, it'll be nice to just keep this romantic idea of California in our heads for us.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go back and forth there when I'm older, just throughout my life as hopefully as a screenwriter.
Yeah.
And have to go there for meetings or to pitch scripts or network and whatever the case. But it's like I already know, and she knows that we don't want to live there. So, but after that, we're gonna go to California, then go north a bunch, where it already starts to become ambiguous once we get to Washington because we're gonna go through Oregon. Probably not gonna live in Oregon. But then Washington, it's like potential, but Tony's one of those people who gets seasonal, whatever they call it. Like basically when it's gray outside, she gets sad.
Oh, it's seasonal depression kind of thing. Even if you don't want to call it depression, but it's still a seasonal kind of thing.
But it's like she would probably call it depression, to be honest.
Yeah, Janet's the same thing in the winter.
So I don't know if Washington
with all the rain, 300 days a year.
I don't know if that would be good for her. She doesn't either. So once we get to Washington, we at least want to spend some time there. It becomes ambiguous because we're like, okay, well, should we go through Canada and then go to Alaska, or should we just go east at that point?
Yeah, maybe skirt along the north end. There's a lot of options you can do.
Yeah, so at that point,
you could even explore a little bit of Canada if you wanted.
And again, we have 3 to 5 years to do this, so that's why I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
I was just more concerned about where do we start, where do we want to spend our honeymoon.
Nice. Yeah, me and Janet were thinking about moving out to like Oregon one day.
Well, we'll have some perspective for you.
Yeah, let's get some advice.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we'll have to talk about soon, but I feel like the platform of like the podcast I'm going to do will be a really good place to discuss ideas more specifically. And it'll be a little less casual, and I am going to take more of an interviewer approach. I think I really almost like journalistic. Really? I think I could be good at that. I think I could be good at like
definitely
getting to the core of people and getting to the heart of the conversation. And and finding something that's entertaining but also helpful for people. And I also think just like if I want it to be accessible, I think in a weird way it should be more. I should stick to like niches more, like what I'm good at and what I'm really interested in
That's
talking about.
fair.
Because
Yeah.
like I could try to stay really current with politics and
But that's not even you. Do you even really have an interest at that?
no,
Like,
and so
no,
therefore it will never be my strong suit.
no.
Um, yeah, I
People
mean,
always say like work isn't work if you're enjoying it or something like that. You
yeah,
know? So it's like why make your podcast about something you're like uninterested in, like you don't enjoy?
yeah,
Like
no,
it's literally your outlet. Fuck.
yeah,
Do what you want with it. Yeah.
and so it's like I'd say one of my niches is like productivity and optimizing oneself for people with mental health issues. Like, 'cause I feel
Right.
like that's like the kind of perspective I've come from,
Yeah, and that's something that's like important to you and stuff like
and also
that.
just being young and like how there's not. I feel like a lot of young people nowadays are really just embracing really bad negative mindsets, nihilistic mindsets. Like a lot of the memes you see nowadays, for example, like it kind of shows where kids are at now. Like kids joke
There's
all
so
the
many suicide
yeah,
memes.
kids joke all the time, as you say, about killing themselves, or people just like there's like almost like this contest going on of like well yeah like I don't know people just like they brag about how tired they are and how much they're suffering, and
Yeah.
I'm over here like why are we glamorizing excessive unnecessary suffering? Why aren't we trying to not suffer? Like what are you guys
Yeah.
doing? Like because
I
if you're
get that.
suffering you're not feeling good,
Mhm.
and if you're suffering you're not like creating a successful path for yourself, and
For
and so like these kids are all wondering like why they're so miserable, why they're depressed,
yeah.
why they're not where they want to be, and yet they're like at the same time excessively joking about things that
Mm.
are just inevitably going to make them miserable.
I feel like some of it is like just almost like an outlet, like a way to like cope, like a coping mechanism,
It is,
probably.
yeah.
Most definitely has to be, um, but it doesn't necessarily make it a healthy one at
No, I
all.
mean, and me and Tony have talked about it too because like because we both have like liked and shared different memes that are just like we're just like oh those are too relatable and it's kind of funny, but I think it's a case by case thing because like you'll see a lot of these
Yeah.
really like
I mean, I share a
just
lot of like memes that like are a little absurd.
are self degrading.
Yeah, but like that didn't really apply to me. I just think it's funny.
And that's the thing. That's a really important question, I think. Is it actually clever? Is it actually funny? Because one of my problems with modern memes too is like what memes I've done to comedy is like a lot of it's lazy and not actually clever or funny, and so like we're just like opening our phones, mindlessly scrolling through memes and just going
Yeah,
like
it's like almost like zombies.
yeah, just like zombies, just like going through and like it's like
There's really apps about
our
those
brains are
things.
just like looking at pictures that we know are supposed to be funny. So our brains like let out or release a little bit of dopamine because we know we're looking at funny memes before we even know if it's funny or not. We're kind of
Yeah,
like letting our inner mind laugh, or we're like exhaling a little bit, just
like prepared, like
yeah,
and
prepare to
yeah,
laugh a little bit, so we're kind of dumbing down our comedic minds. But also, if you tie in the overly self-degrading, promoting, self-destruction,
yeah,
masochistic type of shit, then it's like, and you're laughing and you're relating and you're identifying with these memes that are just lazily doing it, then there's not enough separation between like the comedy and the identification. You're just looking at these things and going like, oh yeah, that's relatable, ha ha ha, and then you just like keep going and you let yourself identify with it. And so I think it does matter if it's actually funny though, and you're laughing at the comedy of it, then you can kind of justify to yourself like, okay, yeah, like this is funny. I'm like this is fine to share. This is fine to go, okay, yeah, like this is me or this was once me, like whatever, but it's mostly because it's funny. I don't like when people are just sharing like dumb jokes that are just self-degrading, and I think it's
yeah,
bad that they're doing it just because they're trying to cope and be like, hey, other people are like this too, right?
yeah. Like the nervous laughter. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm not alone.
And yeah, I don't know. I, I,
No,
I empathize with this too. I'm not
yeah,
dismissing that like
no,
that it's like it's so accessible now, and so like people do this so naturally, but I still think we should talk about it and help people find alternatives.
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, we should have a whole. I'm excited to have a whole episode with like a psychologist or something, or just anybody else who's interested in the same topics. But I've been really
Mhm.
interested in like the effects that instant gratification, like drugs or the internet, has on the mind lately, and yeah, that kind of ties into that whole thing.
I know it's kind of separate than what we've been talking about on the theme of everything, but like you mentioned something previously, and we had talked about it a little bit. But like you were trying to distance yourself from like MMA and stuff like that. Are you still doing that? And
Right?
like, can you give me
Yeah.
more in depth on that? You only told me a little bit, or you might have told me it all, and I just forgot. I don't remember.
So I know I probably already referenced my blog. I
Mm.
think I did once this podcast,
Yeah.
but for listeners, you can go to rhettgellis.com and you can find a blog I wrote about it called "Putting MMA to Bed." But I just wanted to say that in case people like they log off now or
Yeah.
whatever or click out now. But yeah, so I've been doing it for a while now actually.
Mm.
So just a little bit of backstory if this is like the first thing you've heard of from me or Tristan or whatever, but MMA used to just be like my life. I started martial arts really young and trained for a while and like had a lot of potential, at least from other people. And I used to want to think I was good at it and whatever. Yeah, had
Fucking
potential.
suck.
Yeah, I suck, dude. No, but yeah, I wanted it to be my whole life, and I kind of put everything into it I could, and then I got hurt. I realized I had scoliosis and some other hip problems and neck problems, but I intended to go back to it, and I was like super into lifting weights and all this stuff, and then I just started to slowly kind of change. Some of it was pretty fast actually, especially when I started discovering drugs and psychedelics, and that just kind of changed how I looked at everything. But yeah, so I stopped MMA a while ago. Like it's been it's been a little over 3 years now
Hmm.
since I've been in the gym, and oh man, it's been a while. So it's like you would think I would have already just kind of accepted uh, how I am now. I mean, I'm not a fighter at all anymore, not warrior minded. At least I didn't think so, and I don't compulsively exercise or eat 4,000 calories a day anymore. And I just want to like write and be romantic and have fun. And I'm still ambitious, but in different ways. Think about opening up a meditation school when I'm way older, like weird shit
Oh, that'd
like
be cool.
that. So yeah, I would have thought all this MMA stuff was put to bed, but then I started to just kind of outwardly vocalize to even like my fiance and stuff, like, hey, I'm thinking about going back and doing this or going back and doing that, like jujitsu, or maybe I could take boxing, just not spar too much anymore. And like,
Right.
I just got that itch again, and yeah, I didn't want to do it. I didn't see. It's one of those things. It's like drugs. Like there are some times I get this impulse to still do drugs, and but I know that I don't actually want that for myself. I just I have this impulse, this default reaction to circumstance or stimulus of
Mm.
some kind in the moment, and I'm like, oh, I want weed right now. I want to drink. I want drugs. I want stimulation of some kind. But then yeah, if I'm able to like slow down for a second and respond to it, I realize like, okay, no, I don't want this for myself.
Yeah, I'm
There's
good
just
without
there's
it.
just something
Yeah.
else I want. Um, And so MMA is one of those things. I don't want to get hit anymore. I don't even want to. I would do jujitsu if I could, but I just know
Hopefully.
that whenever I do it, I'm never gonna. There's a good chance that my spine will never really get much better with
Mhm.
the scoliosis that I have, but it can get worse. Definitely.
And you just don't want to
I just this
want
just
to.
yeah, I can't really rationalize doing anything that will for sure make my body worse. And it was getting to a point where I was okay. Now I'm working a bunch, or I'm going to start working a bunch soon. A couple months ago, before actually started working a bunch, I was like, okay, well, if I can afford chiropractor, can like consistent chiropractor and massage therapy and other forms of physical therapy, then I could justify going back to jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, and my back will only get a little bit worse over time. And so it's like, wait a minute. So I'm talking about spending hundreds of dollars a month, way more than most people who do jujitsu, just so I can maintain the body that I have, and still it's going to be getting worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, and long story short, I just couldn't justify anymore, and also, it's not. I shouldn't just long story short it. Really, it's like it's also the psychological stuff. I kind of don't like who I've been in the past with this sort of like fighter mind, and I don't like how I've in the past would walk into a room and be looking around like sizing people up and like
Yeah.
just thinking about fighting all the time and like
Yeah. I get that.
I don't know. It's like it's weird.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's too because I used to, and I don't know if I start thinking about fighting, I'll default to some pretty unhealthy mindsets or thoughts, and all thoughts and bad thoughts and feelings will arise because I used to like think about fighting and want to fight from bad places, like to cope with like insecurity or feeling weak in different ways.
Right.
And and yeah, I just don't like the kind of like the cycle of thoughts and feelings that MMA
That's
kind of
fair.
brings into my mind, and I really want to be able to enjoy it as a spectator sport eventually again. But every time that I've watched MMA recently or in the past couple months, I would just get that itch more and more, and it just felt like I was fueling the fire, you
So
know?
you decided just to separate yourself from that.
Yeah, and as silly as it sounds, it came to me deleting all the I had all these like UFC and MMA like meme pages and videos and like and event update things on YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and all over social media, giving me notifications and stuff, and I just like unfollowed everything, unliked everything, and yeah, I did that so I could distance myself from it all, and it's helped. I haven't had that itch as much, and
Nice.
it's like it's another one of those things that's kind of created space in my life and my mind to focus on other things, and now that I've just kind of identified that there is some sort of hole in me in regard to like physical passion
Mm-hmm.
and a lack of expressing it, I'm getting more into the mindset of like, okay, yeah, like probably take up dancing, probably just start exercising more because I know it's good for me, not because it's for
Nice.
an event or something.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, I think it's just helped me round out more as a person. But I will say I love the sport of MMA. I'm excited to be able to just watch it again in the future without risk of hurting my psyche or potentially hurting my body again by returning to it when I know I shouldn't or I
Nice.
know I don't want to.
So have you consider any more like to spectate like any other kind of like sports in place of it, or you just kind of moved on from it and just started doing like you said, just more focus, just put your focus elsewhere other than sports and
Yeah, I
in
mean,
your own physical fitness and dances and stuff like that.
so it's weird. It's hard to say for sure. I'll be able to start gaining better perspective of that when I'm not so busy
Mm-hmm.
because right now it's like I almost feel like I need to start doing more hobbyist things because like
Right.
I'm working so much and working on all this self optimization stuff all the time that I don't even feel like I have time. Like I'm not playing any video games. I'm not watching much TV. I watch movies here and there with Tony, but yeah, it's like I don't feel like I have time for any of that shit. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't really watch any other sports. I never really did. I mean, it was like the one thing.
Right.
I'm really just into like studying and stuff right now. I think my kind of spectator thing, like how I used to like break down fighting when I would watch it and be like, okay, yeah, he's doing that and
Mm-hmm.
he's doing this. He should be doing that. Oh, why did he do that? Like getting kind of like yeah, breaking it down. That satisfaction that I used to get from it. I kind of want to get that way more about movies again. I just want to watch movies and break them down and
That's cool.
try. Yeah, I don't know. There's similar kind of things I can do to feel the same way that I would when I would watch MMA and
Yeah.
feel like I knew something about it or something, you
Yeah,
know?
I get that.
Yeah.
No, when you feel like you know something or can understand and comprehend something, especially in like a more advanced way than like most people see on the surface, it's a really cool feeling.
Also, I just think channeling, it's also helped me like, it's, as weird as it sounds, like this kind of mixes into meditation and stuff. So let me premise this in a better way. So, one, I've learned that I used to think that like if I meditated too much and became too happy, I wouldn't be able to write movies or jokes or anything like that as dark as I used to, or
Mm-hmm.
okay, I like violence in cinema. I think it's good cinema a lot of the time when it's done well, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, okay, well, like I get too happy and stuff. What if I can't channel that anymore? And I kind of thought the same thing with MMA. Like if I can't like let myself be exposed to MMA for a while, then am I just gonna lose that side of me? But as weird as it is, it's actually kind of helped me like get closer to the small instances or when violence just
Mhm.
punctuates my life in just different little periods of time, I can kind of like look closer into them because I'm not so overstimulated with violence elsewhere, like watching UFC all the time. So
Yeah.
when I do think about fighting now, I kind of let myself get closer to it and think about it and look at it at what it all entails, and I could really see that like affecting my writing in a better way now. I can look closer at the nuances
Yeah. And
of these things
go
happening
through
in
the
life and
minute details and shit.
yeah, and making the minor things more dramatic. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain.
No,
I'll
but
just
I
have to
get what you're
show you.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I don't think I don't remember a full explanation to everything behind it. So
No, yeah,
we're just
there's a lot of
curious.
things we get to talk about, and that's why you'll have to
Mhm.
come onto my podcast when it comes soon. We can talk
Yeah.
about more stuff and get specific. I kind of wanted to know too how comfortable you would be. So
Yes,
you're
I'll
very
do it
close to me.
naked.
Yeah, we'll do it naked.
Of course.
But
We never got to do that on this
I
podcast. We
know
talked about
next
it.
podcast or in the reunion 10 years from
In
now. Hobo and the
reunion.
Vet.
Yeah, Hobo and The Vet reunion. That'll be like must be naked.
I was thinking though when you come on, I was thinking maybe like kind of a side segment we could do with you whenever you're on this new podcast of mine is what if we slowly start to teach you how to meditate? Because like I think it's like it's become a big part of my life
Yeah.
to the point where like I want to start going on like if it were up to me, I would go on a silent retreat or two every year for the
Really.
rest of my life. Like I really want to go all in and do that stuff. And I think that eventually I'd love to be able to teach a little bit of meditation.
Yeah,
And
no,
so like
I would be down to learn, especially in bits and pieces at a time.
yeah, like I was thinking, like we could do like a 1 minute. I could practice and prepare like a 1 minute guided meditation,
Yeah.
and just see if we could do that, and then I could talk to you about like the benefits and why I think it'd be good for people to meditate. But
And I just give you my honest opinion on how I feel afterwards.
yeah, that'd be
And
fun.
just continue. Yeah, no, definitely be cool, especially if I can reoccur on the podcast
Oh, you
multiple
will,
times.
and
Yeah.
it'd be fun to have you kind of on a with the same kind of dynamic we've had here, where like
Yeah.
you're there with us. We have that Hobo and the Vet feel,
Yeah.
but with another guest as well, and we're still kind of talking more specifically about like life and habits and like
A lot of
how
the
to
popular
improve.
topics.
Yeah, and yeah. So
Nice.
so that's where we're at. So this is our we can say for now kind of like the finale of Hobo and the Vet,
Yeah,
our
definitely.
10th episode.
It
We
feels
made it
good
this
to
far.
get closure on it, you know?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we ended up with that Dylan episode and we just had everything. I was like, well, I don't want it to be done. I wasn't ready, but I feel like it's easier to get, to kind of put it aside, if nothing else, for now.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
at least on the back burner of life for a while.
Yeah. It was definitely a great time while we had it.
Yeah. So before we like totally close out, was there anything else that you can think of that you wanted to talk about or like?
No, I just want to say thanks for like doing this with me. It was a lot of fun. Definitely a good time in my life, especially when I was super consistent with it. It's something I look forward to every week. So just thank you for like doing this with me. Thanks for all four of you that listen. We definitely have a couple videos with a pretty decent amount of views for what it is. So, just a thank. So it was just a good thank you and stuff like that. So
It's kind of bittersweet. It feels like we were just getting started. But,
yeah,
but you know,
like,
life.
the roads are fucking wavy.
Yep.
What we're talking about, this is wild. So, no worries. It's definitely I'm glad I did this. So yeah.
Me too, man.
Anything from you?
I'm excited, and I don't want to get too dramatic because it'll be like, especially since you have October off, we'll probably do a podcast in October.
Yeah.
I'm guessing if you're here at that point. I mean,
I should be.
but yeah, we'll just do it on a different site or whatever. But yeah, no, I feel really good about this. I'm glad we did this. I think I learned a lot. I mean, even just technical wise, I learned how to like make a podcast with this.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be something I do for the rest of my life. Honestly, like this might be like my favorite platform to kind of give direct output to the world. Like the main thing I want to do creatively is write screenplays and make movies that express ideas and entertain people and stuff. But this is sort of my selfish output endeavor.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thanks, man. This was a good finale for Hobo and the Vet. Appreciate you, and I love you.
Love you too, bro.